Commander Westbrook, right? Chief Science Officer.
You remembered my name and my rank. Impressive. Yes, I'm the Chief Science Officer, and I have the dubious honor of being the most senior officer on this bridge. I know this ship inside and out. Better than just about anyone.
What a very impressive list of credentials.
This is a research and discovery ship, first and foremost. Now with a former tactical officer as its new first officer. I'm curious, though. A Kobliad, or half in your case, is an odd choice for first officer, given your vulnerable condition and all. But if, as an example, we found ourselves in a hostile situation, and you were suddenly incapacitated because you needed an infusion, what would happen then? Captain Solano without an XO. Granted, that would be a worst-case scenario.
Like I said, in my entire career, it's never been an issue. Or caused this, and I don't expect this to be any different.
I was just curious, that's all. Listen, can I be blunt, Commander?
I see no reason to stop now.
Commander Sutherland,
Was
his
ist denn
predecessor, was one of
los?
the best first officers in all of
Was ist
Starfleet.
denn
His record was impeccable and his reputation was without equal. I mean no disrespect, but the shoes you're stepping into are almost impossible to fill. He was loved by the crew. And he was one of my closest friends.
Mr. Westbrook, if you have some kind of problem with me, and you just met me so it has nothing to do with me, you're gonna have to figure out how to get over it. Because I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. Do you read me?
Loud and clear. I'll stick to science. That is what this ship is for.
Very well.
Seeing as Captain Solano is on the starbase, let me give you an update on this ion storm we're flying into. It's unusual, unlike anything I've ever seen. At the moment, I can't tell you if the Resolute will shrug it off or if we're putting ourselves at risk. However, if we learn more about its patterns, its nature, we can come up with a scientific countermeasure. Just a moment.
We've got a massive energy wave inbound. On screen.
Tracing its trajectory.
Starbase docking clamps are holding.
The storm's emissions are fluctuating, coming in waves. And if my projections are right, we're about to get hit by a wideband burst of ionic energy. Like a tsunami.
I'm reading power abnormalities all over the ship.
Estimated.
Red alert.
Aye. Evacuating main gangway and retracting.
Putting sensor visualization on screen.
With the structural integrity field shut down, we can't take a direct hit.
Time to impact. 1 minute.
Shield systems are severely impacted. We have limited protection.
I need every available solution. What are our options?
We can weaken the impact of the storm with a deflector pulse.
Wait, there's a...
I'm sending all auxiliary power to the deflector dish.
Send the aux power to the shields. We can't reactivate the entire shield bubble, but it's a directional threat. So we can orient all we have towards the wave. You have to believe me.
We only get one shot at this. We can't afford to get it wrong.
Commander Westbrook, use the deflector dish.
Already working. Timing displayed. It's going to be tight.
Good. Send the pulse on my command. Now.
No, that was too early. We're...
Commander Westbrook, use the deflector dish.
Already working on it. Optimal timing displayed. It's going to be tight.
Good. Send the pulse on my command. Now.
We got it. This is it.
Macht ihr denn da weiter?
All hands, brace for impact.
Jo. Oh, stopp dich.
experienced a surge of radiation.
Oh, you don't say.
This radiation supercharged the plasma, forcing it to backflush through the system and creating a dangerous imbalance.
Blow out every primary system on the ship.
Just tell us where you need us.
I need you to traverse the hull to the access port to recalibrate the port nacelle plasma regulator.
We've reached the first access point.
Understood. Do you see the override for the level 1 failsafe circuits?
Affirmative.
Engage the override. It should allow us to stop the EPS flow to the warp engine without triggering an automatic core shutdown.
Failsafe override engaged.
Are you sure? I am registering some crosstalk in the bypass circuit.
We need to route the signals so they don't interfere with each other.
Diaz to Resolute. The failsafes are temporarily disabled. Moving on to the EPS regulator.
Heads up, Carter.
What is that?
One of the discharges coalesced.
It's coming right toward us. I'm gonna try to disrupt it with my phaser.
So we gotta climb up the pylon. Not that there's really an up, but, you know.
the regulator. Opening the access panel.
I am now halting the EPS flow to the port nacelle. We have little time before it causes an overload in the engine. You must work efficiently.
EPS manifold adjusters reset to neutral. EPS lines to the port warp engine are back in balance. Almost done. Once I cycle the manifold nozzles, Cho'La can...
Mal wieder du. Irgendwas stimmt da nicht.
Get down! Steers to bridge. We just lost the docking clamp.
Ab ins Bett.
A lot of debris coming down. All hull vibrations, too. We can't finish the EPS regulation in these conditions. Please advise.
We have to release the ship from that other docking clamp or the hull will be ripped apart.
There's a problem. The clamps are supposed to disengage automatically in an emergency. It's not working.
Not working.
What are our options?
The docking clamps are fitted with exploding bolts for an emergency release.
We've got crew out there. That'd be like setting off a bomb next to them.
Maybe there's another one.
Starbase is hailing us. Put him through.
Resolute, the remaining mooring arm is failing. You need to disengage from the starbase now. The damage to the station will be catastrophic.
The docking clamp isn't functioning. We're exploring our
The
options.
option is to detonate the emergency release.
Commander, hear me out. Reverse the polarity of the hull, which theoretically will repel the docking clamps.
And repel the engineering crew right off the hull into the storm.
This is Captain Solano. Put me on screen.
Go ahead. Captain, we have a situation.
Commander, what are you doing? This isn't your call to make. Blow
The
the...
captain doesn't know the whole story.
I'm giving you an order. Jara?
Yes, sir. Disengaging the clamps.
They're gonna get hammered with debris out there.
The captain made himself quite clear.
Reverse the polarity.
There is protocol.
And there are lives.
Starbase, stand by. We're gonna flip hull polarity to disengage the clamps.
Yes, Commander.
What? You just said you disengage the clamps.
Captain, I have to do this. Repair crew, this is Acting Captain Jara Rydek. Repair crew, this is Acting Captain Jara Rydek. Be advised, we are... Tether yourself and deactivate your boots on my mark.
Understood.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark!
Ah!
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark!
Ah!
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark!
Ah!
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark!
Ah!
Grab my hand. I got you.
Thank you.
Plasma imbalance is reaching critical condition. We are moments from primary system failure.
I got it.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark!
Ah!
plasma imbalance is reaching critical condition. We are moments from primary system failure.
I got it.
Ach was! Wo ist die andere, das andere Schwein? Ach was! Muss ich erst noch helfen? Was machst du? Schwein.
Hurt and unconscious. I'm gonna have to tow her back to the airlock.
Mr. Diaz, the situation has changed. Mr. Diaz, the situation has changed. It has come to my attention that you are at risk of triggering a
But Commander, the way we came is the nearest airlock.
There's an auxiliary hatch near you on the far end of the pylon. You must bring Miss Edselar there to access the interior.
Roger that. Going there now.
Lass eigentlich schon wieder. Der Appetit?
Ja. Muss ich noch abkühlen lassen.
I'm at the auxiliary hatch.
You go first.
What?
Let me save your neck this time. No time to fight me on this. Get in there.
Not on your life.
Let's not let it come down to that. We made it.
They're safe. Bringing the SIF fully online.
Do it.
Nilly.
I'm good. Help me with him.
Let's get this off. Medical. Got one wounded at my location. Carter. You don't look so good.
more careful. I just got here. I'm not ready to see you two get blown to space dust just yet. Now let's get you down to sickbay.
Great. Status report.
The repair crew made it inside. EPS flow is back to nominal levels. The SIF is back up.
How does this affect mission readiness, Mr. Ermot?
Releasing the docking clamps using hull polarity minimized damage to the Resolute. We'll have some last-minute repairs to make, but if we reapportion some of the staff, we can make our departure on time. As of now, however, we are successfully moored to the station.
Good to hear. Send updates to my ready room. Commander Rydek, with me. You disobeyed my orders. Well?
I'm sorry for that, Captain. I did what I thought was...
You disobeyed my orders! And not just in front of the bridge crew, but the Starbase staff as well. That's going to get around. My name's already tarnished around the fleet. But what is it going to do to my credibility on this ship? From the top to the bottom. Bridge to lower decks.
There's a chain of command for a reason. I said that everyone on this ship should know that. But I should understand and enforce that more than anyone. And I'll do better, living up to that.
Expect as much from you. You might have won some fans on the bridge with that stunt, but not everyone. Lieutenant Commander Chovak has already bent my ear.
I'm sure he doesn't take it personally. He'll get over it in time.
Mr. Chovak is more complicated than he would want to admit. I guess we all are. And, if I'm being honest, I'm not sure what I would have done in the moment either. You never really know if you weren't in those shoes. So, let's just boil it down to you did what you had to.
You placed a lot of trust in me, bringing me here. I feel like I let you down.
How was that?
I brought you here for a reason. I'm still sure it was the right one.
Very good.
Despite it all, we got our final Starfleet clearance to depart. So if you'll fetch Mr. Ermot, we'll knock out the final details of any outstanding repairs, and then we'll set out for Heute.
Yes, sir. All departments reporting full mission readiness. All departments reporting full mission readiness.
This is my favorite moment, right now.
The start of a new mission is always full of possibility.
The Orion Syndicate could sell it as a drug.
Don't let the Admiralty hear you say that.
Captain on the breach. Sit. Sit, everyone. You all know, I'm not big on speeches. We're embarking on the first mission since our refit. Let's make it a good one. Disengage docking clamps.
Docking clamps released.
Thrusters ahead, Mr. Hancock. system. Prepare to go to Warp 8.
Aye, Captain.
You know what? You take this one.
Me? Helm. Do it.
Nicely done. Whoa. Careful.
Thank you. I'm fine. Really,
You don't look fine.
I have to get to sickbay.
Go.
Commander, help me get her inside.
Well, that was quite a scare. A few minutes more and it would have been one of the shortest tenures on record for a first officer.
Is that the engineer that was out on the hull?
That storm did a real number on him, but he'll live. Just needs rest. You should worry about yourself. Your duridium levels got dangerously low and destabilized your cell structure.
This is definitely one of the more memorable first days I can think of.
My name is Dr. Aram Duval, Chief Medical Officer. To be honest, I've never met a Kobliad before. You're
Rare. I know.
I was going to say special. Your people's numbers have dwindled, despite the Federation's efforts to find a more readily available alternative to the duridium you need to survive. Yet you joined Starfleet and managed to thrive. I imagine responsibility must be overwhelming. Maybe even a burden at times.
It does make me unique, but it's not a burden at all. I'm honored to be Kobliad, to represent my people.
As you should be. And don't worry, I won't treat you like a science experiment. I just do the science and leave the experiments to Solano.
You don't agree with his methods?
I don't agree with his definition of acceptable risks. Not when the lives of your crew are at stake. My professional opinion is that the accident took a toll. More than he's willing to admit. He's overstressed, operating in the pressure cooker of his own mind. Which is never a good headspace when the lives of your crew are at stake. What concerns me is that now he's even further away from the thing he's been chasing his entire career. The breakthrough discovery. The major innovation. Something he can put his name on. The more the time passes and the further out of reach it gets, the more risk he'll be willing to take.
I hear you. But that's my job, isn't it? To make sure that doesn't happen. And we don't lose sight of the bigger picture.
Which is exactly why I'm so glad you're here. We need you now more than ever. And I have to give you credit for what happened on the bridge. It took guts to defy a direct order.
Huh. I guess word travels fast around here.
It's a small ship. And everyone's curious about the new XL. Your cell structure's almost completely stabilized. And I'll spare us both the lecture, but I do feel it's my responsibility to remind you, without regular infusions of duridium, you will not live. It's as simple as that.
Understood.
Then, my work here is done.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be lurking outside of sickbay. I didn't want to intrude, so it felt more appropriate to wait out here. We were all worried about you. Or I should say I was. I wasn't sure what was happening at first.
I don't want anyone to worry about me. I'm gonna be just fine. This is part of who I am, but I've never let it define me.
Thank you, buddy.
Got that now?
Sometimes.
And I promise I'll try not to let being such a jerk define me either. You trusted my intuition earlier, with the deflector pulse. I felt I should thank you for that.
Well, thank you for coming. Even though you didn't have to.
I wanted to.
Now, Carter, the emissions that gave you that burn are quite unusual, like everything else that goes with the storm. That's a combination of hyronolin and lectrazine to counter the radiation effects. That should help speed your healing. She's come by a couple of times to see you already. Be brief.
It's good to see you awake again. I was starting to get worried. Not that you aren't in good hands with Dr. Duvall.
So, be honest. How bad do I look?
You look rugged.
Rugged?
Okay, how about heroic? Millie was looking in on you too, by the way. But since it's just us right now, I had a chance to think about this while I was away. And I thought it was important that I just come out and tell you.
It's okay, Miranda. You can tell me anything.
I know that.
Then come on. Just spit it out.
I'm trying. Let me talk. What I'm trying to say is, we've been really friends for a long time. But I got back here and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I want to see if there's more between us than just being friends.
Are you sure about this?
They're my feelings. Of course I'm sure.
I just mean, seeing me in here, after we almost got killed out on the hall.
I felt this way before that, Carter. I like you. And I think there could be something more for us. So, what do you say?
That's a lot to think about.
I know it is.
So, maybe I should think it over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, take as long as you need. I get it. But, don't leave me hanging.
Sorry to interrupt, but the patient needs to rest if he wants to get back to his own self.
Of course. Get better. And while you're resting up, think about what we talked about.
Approaching the rendezvous point outside Atari space.
Helm, bring us out of warp.
Dropping to impulse.
Ionic interference surging, Captain.
Shield integrity holding.
We can take it.
We are at the correct coordinates to meet the shuttle.
Commander Rydek, find us our diplomatic field.
Aye, Captain. Let's reduce the noise. Filter out environmental signals. I can manually tune what's left for Federation signal types. I've located the shuttle.
Opening comms.
On screen.
Shuttle to Resolute. Shuttle to Resolute. Debris field. Lost maneuvering. Losing.
I can't get it any clearer.
It won't get a transporter lock. It's just not happening.
Power up the tractor beam. We'll pull them directly into the docking bay.
Diaz, you good to run the tractor emitter?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Come on, on, Diaz. First thing, lock onto the shuttle and stabilize the rotation. We're pulling in debris.
I'm on it. That's gonna take out the shuttle. Thea's the bridge. There's a large piece of debris headed for the shuttle. The tractor beam can't handle it.
Can our shields take it?
I believe so.
Commander Ryder, plot an intercept course.
On it.
Here we go. Maneuvering thrusters bearing 53 Mark 17, 200 meters on an intercept course.
Maneuvering.
Got it.
Whoa! Someone's working hard on the bridge. Shuttlecraft on board.
Good job. We're on our way down to meet them.
Terra firma, so to speak.
Ambassador Spock. The captain will be right down to meet you, sir.
In that case, I will wait for him here.
Apologies for the landing, Ambassador. I was operating the tractor beam, sir. I take responsibility.
The craft suffered a few collisions, but I believe the saying is, it will buff out. We thought we were prepared for our arrival in Otari space, but it is evident my craft was not sufficiently robust for such intense ionic activity.
The storm has been pretty intense.
There was an element that was most unusual. Before you came to our aid, our maneuvering thrusters and impulse engines were rendered inoperable. So we attempted a short reversal at warp speed, only to find that we could not achieve warp at all, even though our diagnostics computer showed no faults or anomalies. What do you make of that? When all indications say that warp speed is possible.
Now, onboard diagnostics can be wrong. I can take a closer look at your shuttle systems to get to the bottom of it.
I would appreciate that.
Take readings, run some additional diagnostic checks, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Quite logical. Petty Officer...
Carter Diaz. Sir.
Thank you.
Ambassador Spock.
Excuse me.
I'm honored to have you aboard. I'd like to get right to it. We're already behind. Ambassador Spock, my senior staff. It's not every day that a captain gets to welcome a Starfleet legend aboard.
You flatter me, Captain Solano. But legend implies the past tense, whereas I am very much focused on our present circumstances.
I didn't mean to suggest you were stuck in the past. You're right, Ambassador.
You are a legend, Ambassador. There's not an officer in Starfleet that doesn't know of your career.
I would never assume that to be the case.
We were hoping you could fill us in on the details. We got the basics from Starfleet. Two formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war.
Indeed, and the tension between them grows fiercer by the hour. Lydia and Hotari. The Lydians are the more advanced species. They made first contact with the Hotari over a century ago. This is Tau, the Hotari moon. It is rich in dilithium, and for decades, the Hotari and the Lydians have shared a mining operation there. The Lydians provide the technological resources, while the Hotari have served as the labor force. The stability of that arrangement was the source of their peace. Until recently. The Hotari have suddenly and forcefully seized control of the mining operations and expelled the Lydians from their system. That is the official story, as told by the Hotari when they requested Federation mediation. But the details remain scant. Communications between all parties have been limited by the ionic interference.
What are the Hotari defensive capabilities? Do they stand a chance to hold on to the mines now that they've taken them?
It is unlikely the relatively primitive Hotari forces would prevail against the Lydian fleet in open war. But it would have been equally unlikely to predict they could take possession of the mines until they did just that, which leaves many unanswered questions. Left unchecked, this conflict will result in more bloodshed, which is what we are here to prevent.
And the dilithium trade hangs in the balance.
Clearly, the Hotari have been exploited in this relationship.
Maybe we can persuade them peace is the more profitable alternative for everyone. They both profited from the mines. And for the Hotari, something is better than nothing.
We can call it profitable or mutually beneficial, but at the end of the day, the Hotari are still being exploited for their own resources.
True peace is not merely the absence of war. And as such, this conflict will surely come again.
Neither the Lydians or the Hotari are members of the Federation, so we can't make them do anything.
There is an additional complicating factor I should mention. In the past, the Federation has relied on the Lydians as a source of dilithium.
That certainly changes things.
Federation sources its dilithium from a lot of places.
So we've already played a part in this.
Unfortunately, that is indeed the case, Commander Rydek.
We're morally obligated to make this right.
Hold on. Our only obligation is to negotiate the peaceful resolution of this conflict.
Given the Federation's involvement in the Iridium dilithium trade, Captain Solano and I must make every effort to appear neutral in these negotiations.
What worries me is if this whole thing unravels and we're at the mercy of the storm at less than full strength.
We can't let it come to that.
Considering what the ion storm has done to our ship, and the Ambassador's shuttle, we have to assume the Iridian fleet has had problems with it as well. This recent surge in the energy disturbance temporarily levels the playing field.
Commander Westbrook is correct. The energy anomalies around the Hotai systems have been noted in the past.
If it's keeping the two sides talking instead of shooting at each other, that actually helps us negotiate a peace.
And we'll take advantage of that as long as it works in our favor.
And when it doesn't?
All the more reason to learn as much about it as we can while we are here. We do not want to be caught unprepared, should the energy anomaly continue to fluctuate. So I trust we understand our circumstances.
We're operating on a strict timetable here, and we're going to be leaving for the negotiations shortly. Commander Westbrook, I want you to leverage our systems to investigate the anomaly from here while we're gone.
Aye, Captain.
Thank you all.
Dismissed.
I want to speak to both of you privately.
Ambassador Spock, I'd like to make a formal introduction. My first officer, Commander Jara Ryder.
Commander, as you are aware, there are limits to what Captain Solano and I can do in our official capacity as representatives of the Federation. But someone in an unofficial capacity, your first officer, Commander Ryder could ingratiate herself to certain parties behind the scenes, where they may be more candid in revealing information that could lead to a resolution.
She certainly goes her own way.
I'm honored to be included in the negotiation process.
You're not just included, you are instrumental.
Well, I hope Commander Rydek will have more luck finding out what really happened than we will through official diplomatic channels.
The fate of the negotiations, the interests of the Federation, and the prospect for peace may very well depend on it.
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock?
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with.
Commander Chovak, is there anything you do enjoy?
I take pleasure in the satisfaction of a job well done. I suggest you try it sometime. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
Was that a joke?
No, couldn't have been. It seems like he's warming up to us.
Yeah.
Even Chovak has to look at that face and know you've earned some real respect. And I have to admit that I owe you one. You were right to make me go first. I don't know what I was thinking.
I paid a pretty high price. For the respect.
You had my respect long before all this. I hope you know that.
I know.
Come on. Let's get to the bottom of this.
There you go.
All set. Let's run the diagnostic. I know about your talk with Miranda.
You do?
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation. Yes or no, that's one thing. But I can't believe you said you needed to think about it.
I did need to think about it.
Well, you can't leave this unsettled. It's not fair to her. She was direct with you. Didn't play games. Neither should you.
Well, honestly, I was worried you wouldn't approve of, fraternization with...
Don't make this about me. You can see where this goes between you two, or you can stay friends. But don't screw this up. I like my friends, and I like our group. I don't want to lose that. Is that thing done yet?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown. The backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Huh. Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something. Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation. Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code. Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to go. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll check the navigation array.
Susi!
Was sind die Schöner? Ja, ich hab sie sehen. Auf den Weg da hoch. Schloss du. Ab nach Hause. Das kann gar nicht go.
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock.
Was ich will?
I have. It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments. But I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with.
The Ambassador asked me to take a look, and I'm ready to crack this thing open.
Good. You could learn from Mr. Diaz's focus.
I'll take notes.
Then I will leave you to it. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
It seems like he's warming up to us.
Yeah.
Even Chovok has to look at that face and know you've earned some real respect. And I have to admit that I owe you one. You were right to make me go first. I don't know what I was thinking.
I paid a pretty high price. For the respect, that is.
You had my respect long before all this. I hope you know that.
I know.
Come on. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Ready to go?
Let's run the diagnostic. Your talk with Miranda.
You do?
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation. Yes or no, that's one thing. But I can't believe you said you needed to think about it.
I did need to think about it.
Well, you can't leave this unsettled. It's not fair to her. She was direct with you. Didn't play games. Neither should you.
Yeah, I like her. I hope I didn't screw it up.
I'm sure she'll be happy to hear that.
Thanks.
But I want you to be very careful. Once you're more than friends, it's hard to go back. And if things don't work out between you two, well, I don't want things to get weird. Is that thing done yet?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown. The backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Huh. Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something. Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation. Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code. Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coil or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll check the navigation array.
Nein. Wie oft soll ich das noch machen? Ich muss es unmöglich.
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock?
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with. I am not the chief engineer.
Wo sollte er hingehen? Ins Bett. Wow.
Commander Chovak, is there anything you do enjoy?
I take pleasure in the satisfaction of a job well done. I suggest you try it sometime. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
Was that a joke?
No, couldn't have been.
Ah!
It seems like he's warming up to us. Even Chovak has to look at that face and know you've earned some real respect. And I have to admit that I owe you one. You were right to make me go first. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, I did pretty great out there. So don't you forget it.
I have a feeling you won't let me forget it.
I'm not gonna have to do a damn thing to remind you.
Come on. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Ready to go?
All set. Let's run the diagnostic. Oh. I know about your talk with Miranda.
You do?
She sent me a priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation. Yes or no, that's one thing. But I can't believe you said you needed to think about it.
I did need to think about it.
Well, you can't leave this unsettled. It's not fair to her. She was direct with you. Didn't play games.
I just want to stay friends with her. I like being friends. I don't want to ruin that.
Then you should tell her that. Don't keep her on the hook. Is that been done yet?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown. The backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Huh. Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something. Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation. The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look. Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll check the nacelles for a cracked coil. checked every coil on the port nacelle for imbalances. If any coil in either engine were cracked, I would have detected it. So, it must be the navigation array.
Except it's not. Checked and double-checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team. Hey, going planet side?
Yep, as soon as the negotiating team comes down from the bridge. And you've got your hands full, opening every compartment on this shuttle. I hope you're not just trying to keep busy to avoid thinking about some other things. I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Believe me, I've been thinking.
Don't think too hard about it. It shouldn't be that complicated to sort out.
Hey, Maris. Aren't these those button pushers you're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for Hotari.
That another one of the captain's railroad things?
Gotta be. I just usually zone out by the time he gets to the whole, steam engines were the warp drives of their day part. Catch y'all later.
You don't want to miss your train.
I do have to go. So, you've had time to think. You have something you want to say to me? The train is leaving the station.
I think we should keep things the way they are. You're one of my best friends. And you mean so much to me, and I don't want to risk losing that. I really don't.
I understand. I gotta go. Sorry.
That went well enough. It'll be fine. All right, where were we?
So, the warp coils in the navigation array are fine, but the nav computer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm out of ideas short of field stripping the shuttle from bow to stern.
You wanna take this out of the shuttle and throw it on the bench?
Oh, real hands-on maintenance. I like it. Okay, the nav computer is patched into the ship.
The ship's computer can double-check our work. If the shuttle's nav computer is putting out false data, we'll know it.
Let's run through the shuttle's logs again.
Running now. Same. Warp field inversion and the cascade failure. However, the Resolute computer doesn't show the same subspace variance.
We're in the same conditions that the shuttle was in when it failed. Why wouldn't the ship's computer get a matching result?
What if the subspace variance was a momentary occurrence?
It's a possibility, and it would explain why the simulation under our current sensor readings failed to reproduce the issue.
But a subspace anomaly strong enough to cause a warp field collapse would leave graviton ripples for days.
Let's run with the momentary subspace variance theory for now. Roll forward to the shuttle's attempt to re-engage the warp drive. We need the conditions of space around the shuttle at the moment of warp failure.
Jule.
Simulation.
Ab ins Bett.
Error in warp field calculation. Cochrane formula variables are out of range.
That right there. Take the shuttle sensor data from that moment.
Computer, why did the warp field calculation fail?
Pressure return non-orthogonal. Results are undefined.
That doesn't help.
Wait, what if we use a different ship?
Into the simulation instead of the shuttle.
Yeah, it should warp just fine. Unless... Run the simulation with the Resolute.
Resolute simulated.
Computer, give me manual control on the warp power.
Static field intensity, warp 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Warp pressure is destabilized. Error in warp field calculation. The warp
Starte
field has
eerst.
experienced a system-wide cascade failure. Warp field collapsed. Subspace
Maar hebben ze die
variance
door?
is out of tolerance. Cochrane formula results
Hebben ze
are
die door?
decline.
Bingo.
Had hij ongemaakt.
The same moment when the shuttle failed to warp, so did the ship. Whatever happened to the shuttle just happened to us. The Resolute will not sustain warp.
We can't leave Hotari space.
Wacht even! Als die jou niet verstikt doen, was zou je denken komen doen? Alles mistig. Alles mistig.
Ambassador Spock, Captain Solana, welcome to Hotari. We are honored to
honored.
My name is Tylos Altaris, Minister of Diplomatic
Als
Affairs.
jij ze komen denken,
The honor is
kom op je
ours.
dag.
This is Commander Jara Rydick, first officer aboard the USS Resolute. You'll find she has a keen mind. And unique insight into the dynamics between the Hotari and the Lydians.
We've traveled a very long way to get here.
I know. We cannot express how much it means to the Hotari people that
These must be the representatives of the mighty Federation. The reigning authority in the galaxy. Or so we've been led to believe. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But, either way, we're grateful you've made the time to come to our little corner of the universe.
And you are?
This is Galvin, and this is Sidron, the heroes of the revolt in the mines.
Let's hope this is the last time we ever have to come here.
If you'll excuse me.
I think we're about to begin.
Did you hear the arrogance from that guy? I don't know what we're walking into here.
Something about his tone tells me this won't be easy.
That was my sense as well.
I doubt he speaks for all of Hotari. So I would urge patience until we speak with their queen.
Ambassador Spock, welcome to Hotari Prime.
The honor is mine, Your Majesty.
That the Federation would send one of their most respected representatives is not only an honor to the Hotari people and their queen, but a recognition of our stature and importance.
Let's get on with it, shall we? With all due respect to the Federation and their ambassador, they have no authority here. We are not members of their alliance. We are not subject to their rule, nor yours. We demand the immediate return of all mining operations to Lydian control, as it has been for centuries and will be for centuries more. That has always been our understanding.
That understanding has changed.
Then you invite war!
And if you cannot remain silent, you will be silenced. But his point is well taken. What is the Federation's interest in this matter? Perhaps you would have us trade one oppressor for another?
The Federation remains neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution of this conflict. We are here at your request, Your Majesty.
For now.
Saying this wouldn't be easy is an understatement. I thought they wanted us here.
Was there something you wanted to say, Captain?
Oh, no. My apologies.
And what about the Kobliad?
She's not part
She
of...
can speak for herself, can't she? Then let her. Now then, what is your name?
Commander Jara Rydek, Your Majesty.
Being a Kobliad, you would know better than anyone. Your people suffered brutal treatment at the hands of the Cardassians. Sparing justice towards the Kobliad is as unimaginable as it is unforgivable. Not unlike how we have been treated by the Iridians.
As much as they have you believe they are the victims here, remember it was the Hotari who attacked us. Hundreds of innocent Lydians were slaughtered without mercy in those mines.
Blood is on their hands, not ours.
Quiet! After all the Kobliad suffered, they finally had the chance to right that wrong. To get out from under their control. Would you take
Moment,
Was ist
Moment.
drin? Der ist da vorne.
in our minds. And it's in your interest to secure a steady supply.
Your Majesty, if I may.
Ambassador Spock would have us believe you're here as a neutral party in the interest of peace. So why are you really here? I want the truth, not your Federation rhetoric.
I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but it's really not my place to say what the Federation's interests might be.
You are there
to address your concerns.
What they haven't said, but cannot deny, is a simple truth. The dilithium trade would not and will no longer exist without a Lydian involvement. We created it for the benefit of everyone, especially the Hotari. We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that goes away if the Federation turns a blind eye to their treachery.
That is enough of your lies! The Hotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries. So tell me, who deserves control of the dilithium trade and the mines on Tau? Who should the Federation recognize? The Hotari or the Alydians? It can only be one or the other, not both.
If I have to choose only one, then it would have to be the Hotari.
Well said. How could the just and wise Federation make any other choice?
This is an outrage. The Federation has lost all credibility.
The mines are ours. Lydia will not be deterred. We will take back our mines by any means necessary.
Then you will see more blood spilled.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
I suppose there is some sense to that. I hope we meet again, Jara Ryan.
Spock and I will cover everything on the diplomatic front. You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers. We need to find out why the Hotari is so willing to risk war. What happened in those mines?
I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but these negotiations rely on the Federation's neutrality, as does any hope you might have for a supply of dilithium in the future. So why you would choose to side with the Hotari escapes me. Without a Lydian involvement, there is no dilithium trade.
Tau and the mines belong to the Hotari. They deserve to have control.
You overestimate their ability to run the mining operation. They have no idea what they're doing. Major Solid Arminta, Special Attaché, Lydian Armed Forces. Pleasure to meet you, Commander. I have my issues with the Hotari, but I have to give them some credit. They know how to seize an opportunity. Inciting an uprising the same day as a massive once-in-a-lifetime ion storm.
Our assumption was that this storm was just an anomaly.
Yes, a very convenient anomaly. At least, that was what we were told. Of course, I wasn't there. But who am I to say otherwise?
Something tells me there's more to the story. So what really happened?